So I did a quick count. How many monkeys do you think we have left to catch in this game?
I reckon about 200.
It's more than it actually is. It's 120 plus presumably one for Specter, so 121. But we've already caught, to be fair, we have caught like 40 already, so it was probably around like the 150 mark. It's pretty impressive.
Enough. How many monkeys have we caught already, though?
317. So
317.
So it's
a lot.
400 and something.
It's a lot.
Math. Yeah, it's a lot of monkeys in this game. It's very impressive. I'm genuinely very, very, very impressed by just how much this game has in terms of content, which is great.
I mean, yeah, it's still 4 point something gig, whereas they only had 700 meg to play around on PS1. But like, the assets are at such high resolution compared to the Ape Escape 1 that.
Just imagine what. Oh god, I really want a remaster of this. It'd be so fucking cool.
I really want a remaster of Ape Escape 1. Like, this is something which pervades a lot of games today, and I think. We've talked about this before. I was about to say it, and then I remembered someone commenting, going, "Golden Server was grungy," and I remember thinking to myself, "Oh no, I've talked about this previously." Oh god. But yeah, no, it's the same thing. Like Ape Escape 1 has a different vibe, like a bit of a darker, more.
I think they would capture it though.
Yeah, I hope if they remade it, they'd capture it. I just wish we'd have more games that were like, I don't know. I say more games that were grungy, but we've got games like The Last of Us, which are, really dark, and I don't know. I kind of wish Pokemon would be a bit darker.
That'd be interesting. Now we're just not getting all the Pokemon in the Pokédex, so.
Okay, so that's where I stand with on this controversy is yes. Okay, like at some point that's going to have to happen. Like that is inevitable that we're not going to have all the Pokemon in the game.
The problem that I think people have isn't that. It's more the fact that they're just like outright lying, and or at least it's seemingly. And I'm not a developer or an animator. I don't know if they are lying or if they aren't. But it's more the fact that it seems like they're saying that they had to redo all the models, but they are the exact same models.
Now, when they said they had to redo them, it could be that they couldn't get them from one format to another.
Well, the thing is, like people have shown off that there's like a simple free tool that you can just literally move it from one thing into something completely different easily.
Yeah, and the thing is, they might be able to use that, and they might not, depending on like restrictions and stuff.
I don't know.
I've been in places where yes, there's a free tool available to do it, but it hasn't really been scanned, and so people aren't willing to bring it into the company. Like this is stuff coming from because I'm an actual being a developer. I've run into stuff like that before, and sometimes the path. I mean, to be honest, what people are likely to do is just to rebuild it using the source code and without telling anyone. But
I mean, I don't know. Like the thing is, like the problem is that there is a bigger issue here. Like, regardless of whether they're lying or not, like, you know what? It is what it is. Like that's fine. You can boycott the game and you can give constructive criticism. Like, there's nothing wrong with like complaining about it as long as it's done in a constructive way and not a massively threatening way. That's the problem, though. There are some members of the Pokemon and/or gaming community, which are just using it as a like sort of hate rally, and that's not.
But these people are always here, and the more important
thing is
there's a
lot of them this time, and it's not okay.
There was a lot of people who did the same thing when it came to Waluigi not being in the game. There's basically, you've got to remember that a lot of gamers, and I actually do mean this when I say a lot of gamers. I don't mean like the vast majority, but I mean there are a substantial number of people that call themselves gamers that are pretty toxic and will take any opportunity to do this. You know, I mean, you've got to look at things like, like the way that people treated like Jack Thompson and figures like that who were like massively against gaming culture and what games had to offer. But like, instead of talking about it in a sensible way, people like, dox the person and threaten them. And I think in general, we have this from a lot of gamers where they just don't seem able to talk about it in a sensible and understanding way, see the other side of the argument, but more importantly, try to meet people in a way that isn't, opinion-wise, that isn't over the top and like threatening people's like you know, if you're a man, you get threatened with death, whereas if you're a woman, you get threatened with what we all know is what often happens, and it's ludicrous.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Pokemon game. Don't buy it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
Like, I can like, but the other thing is, we can say, okay, well, you guys have been making Pokemon games for a while now, but let's look at Stadium. Stadium had maybe 40 Pokemon in, but they were animated pretty well.
Yeah.
But XD, and Colosseum, again, they were animated pretty well, but some of the animations in there look pretty naff. Like, you know, they got around it by basically showing one Pokemon about to attack and then showing them attack. You know, you didn't see them run across the arena. But there were ones, you know, where Blastoise is actually shooting in PBR, shooting blasts out of his actual, like, you know, mouth or his actual turrets. Like, and that's really difficult to do when you've got access to all the Pokemon, unless you do something like set where their mouth is on all Pokemon, and it should come, a water jet should come out of someone's mouth. That's a lot of effort, and Game Freak's still pretty small. So, I think we should expect better from them, and I do not like what we've seen. And personally, this might be the first Pokemon game that I probably won't buy on launch, and will hedge my bets more a bit. But I think this is like maybe part of a wider problem that we've seen with Game Freak, which is, I don't know, we're sort of losing a bit of that.
Oh, this is kind of amazing.
Oh wow, is this? Yeah, this is.
Oh. Can we show this?
No, we can't. We got to blur it out. Oh, she is destroying you.
Yeah, please. Naked Ape. Yeah, literally.
You know, we all know what film that was from.
You sure don't.
Do you not know?
No, I'm sure.
The shower scene, the infamous shower scene.
Yes, I know of what you speak, but I've never seen it, and I can't.
Oh, I've never seen it, but that's But yeah, I guess this is the problem. Like, there are lots of companies that are taking that sort of shorter route, because games are sort of moving from a fun single story player thing to basically just how much can you sell. Like, where's the microtransactions? I don't think Game Freak are moving to that, but it's pretty hard to justify spending a ton of money on something like that when it's all like nice to haves. Hey, that's a model later on in the game.
Oh, that's kind of cute. It's a monkey in a pumpkin.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of a bit disappointed, I think is the best thing to say.
Oh.
Yeah, it's difficult to get them all. I just feel like they should at this point. Like, if they're going to reduce the number of Pokemon down, they've got new ones in, then it might be time to come up with a system that like allows them to more easily animate them. I think the biggest problem is
they need to be able to bring them into the newest generation, because it's a brand new engine. Like, people want to play with the new ones.
I mean, I'm not sure if it is an engine.
It's a new engine because it's new for the. They started using it for Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee.
Because Let's Go Pikachu looked like the 3DS games blown up.
Oh, I forgot about this level. I'm not sure. I feel like it was nicer than that. Like, much nicer.
It looked nicer, but then when you look at the way that the 3DS game, when you upscale it, like, looks sort of similar to that. Like, I don't know. I mean, okay, let's walk back a second. You've seen the screenshot comparison to Yokai Watch and the Pokemon game, and like Yokai Watch was so much more detailed, the environments were more vivid and impressive, and that was on a Switch title. And you go, oh, hold on a second, because I think they're really starting to feel the heat from Yokai Watch, because in Japan, certainly,
it's level 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it's level 5, and there's level 5 now. Like, you look at Ni no Kuni and the experience of that to create a believable and fairly fully realized world that was very pretty. And why aren't they doing that in Pokemon? Like, it is barren. Like, let's go beyond.
Yeah, it does.
Let's go beyond the simple, like, Pokemon
non-animating. It's a shame because the towns look great, but like the main world looks just really, really boring.
And you even go as much to look at like Breath of the Wild, which I think is probably a valid point to look at and go, well, this is Breath of the Wild supposed to be a fairly barren world.
Yeah, and it's teeming with
there's tons of stuff in it.
Like, not necessarily life all the time, but just with personality.
Yeah, exactly.
It's interesting. Like, it's like it's such a controversial topic, like because it's the industry is changing, and I think like it's also fascinating. Just like obviously all these games are completely different, but like there's so many games this year and next year that are just like, whoa, these are huge games, one after the other, and they're all like massive, and they're all like, hey, no microtransactions, it's just run and done. You know, they're all like big games. Like we've got Death Stranding, and we've got
Last of Us 2,
and yeah, The Last of Us 2, and Cyberpunk 2077, and Final Fantasy, and God knows, and Watch Dogs is even like catching people's eyes because that looks insane. Like there's loads of really cool titles just coming out very, very, very soon, and it's just like, okay, the industry is changing. Like I feel like microtransactions are on the way out, but people are trying to sort of cling to them. But the people who realize that they're on the way out are trying to spend a lot of their time and resources making as much of a standout product as they can. And like, I feel like it's the first time in quite some time it's actually felt like that. Like I'm as you know me, I'm an optimist. I enjoy what I play, but like the games that not that they're bad, but it's just it's never felt like this. Something feels different, and it's hard to pinpoint exactly what that is.
I think it's because they realize that consumers are having a bit of a backlash, but it's not like microtransactions are born out of the developers for the most part.
Oh no,
they're born
of course not.
They're born from the simple desire to make more money, and that's where the big
I mean,
production
the
companies
developers
come in.
usually don't have the say in things. A lot of it is due to the heads of whoever.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, let's be honest. Companies exist to make money. That's solely what a company does. It doesn't exist to make art or to make games that people enjoy. Like, that is a passion that a lot of people in the company can have, but the sole purpose is really to, you know, fulfill what when someone invests is to show a return on that. So, you know, it's never as simple as like, I don't know. I also feel like it's nice we finally got the highlight on, like, people have a lot of passion to put into games, like, you know, the developers do. You speak to developers on them, and they're very rarely totally not passionate about a product. Like, they're usually quite like, oh, this is great, we've really enjoyed doing this, and they've usually got some passion about it, but that passion is what then makes them work however many long hours to produce a product.
Yeah,
and it's nice to see that being addressed now, of going, well, hold on a second, we're basically leeching off people's passion to you know, overwork themselves to get the product done to ridiculous timelines. And so between like publishers realizing that microtransactions aren't maybe so good, and we're talking about a select few publishers, because the EAs and the Activisions of the world are still pushing hard for those.
Activision isn't.
Have they stopped pushing for that?
Yeah, I mean, with Crash and Spyro, they've been like, all their DLC has been free.
Okay.
And like, I mean, with Crash Team Racing, like it's a brand new track and brand new content each month, like entirely free.
This is the crazy thing about that. Okay, is that most of the games, ouch, like in terms of like making money on, that's going to hit you as well.
Yeah, I know.
On most games, is that they've got to make a ton of money to be able to justify free DLC for a while. Like you're basically, when you buy the game, the price of that free DLC is going to be factored in.
Yeah.
It got to be, otherwise it makes no sense. Like, they're not going to lose money on it.
No.
Unless it's like absolutely terrible.
No, but I mean, like Crash, I think.
That's Thomas the Tank Engine with a monkey.
So like the like with Crash, both Crash and Spyro made a ludicrous amount of money, like to the point where they can very much get away with it. Like they've made a ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, but they cost a lot to make as well. Like, that money doesn't come from nowhere. This is the thing about games, is with games you need to have this ton of capital up front to be able to make the game, and then you've got to make sure you're going to make it back selling it. Otherwise, you've spent however many years making a game that doesn't go anywhere. Like, making games is hard, and it's really expensive, and like, it's, I don't know. I just feel like we are getting to a point where more people understand that, and less people like are sat there going, talking about.
Oh shit!
You dead?
Yes, I am.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the industry is changing. I think that it's becoming more self-aware, and people are striving to actually, like, not that they weren't before, but I feel like games were getting rushed, and now I think they're not. I think they're willing to delay things. Like Spyro is a testament to that with Reignited. That is the first game Activision has delayed in like 20 years. Which is crazy to think about.
I'm going to say something here, and it's going to be a bit of a devil's advocate to what you say, but okay. I feel like that might be the case, but only because people are realizing that bad PR and bad press damages brands for a lot longer. So, like, Sonic is in this position where Sonic has suffered, almost continuous onslaught of bad PR. I mean, no one's ever going to be happy with the Sonic game ever again because they've got too diverse fan base. But I do think. Oh.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, like, that may be true, but I don't think that like ruins my point.
No, but I personally think that at the end of the day, the developers usually aren't the ones that set the deadline for the task that's set by above. Like, I want this out for this period of time, and so because of that, you have people working hugely long hours to get the job done. You have people who, put way more time and energy into it than they possibly should do, at the adverse effect of their families and their hobbies and all this sort of stuff. But you also have, and that's just being set from above. And I think maybe we've got to a point now where like the teams themselves of maybe not the developers, but like the managers of the, someone who's maybe a bit closer to the action is making this decision to be able to say, we can't go with this because we need to put some more time in to get what we want.
Yeah. But before they weren't willing to do that.
Yeah, but like I don't know whether that is.
I think Ubisoft, and other companies who I won't name. I think some of them I feel like they definitely rushed out certain games. And I know that in some cases development time was strict.
Yeah, well,
that's why it's really cool that we're seeing more companies actually delay games.
But honestly, development time sort of has to be strict because if not, you end up
for sure.
You end up with Duke Nukem Forever or something. Like there needs to be like an adequate understanding of how long something's going to take. But
I'm not saying that they can't have deadlines, but
no. But you're saying that they've gotten better at understanding maybe how long it takes them to produce something.
Yeah, I guess so.
But that's a difficult thing when it comes to games.
Yeah.
Like it's because it's such a varied thing. Like I don't know.
Yeah, there's a defining line that's hard to work out, I guess.
I think a lot of this is because, as many of you probably know, I am my profession is a software engineer, so I do write things though not games, and so I do understand how it could take a ton of time longer than you expected because of unforeseen bugs and things. But I also understand where the pressures come from in some ways. But it's still, I don't know. The gaming industry seems uniquely different because you can get a lot of visibility, and certain people, PR-wise, can get a lot of can get death threats for things that are just totally undeserving of such things. I mean, no one deserves a death threat. Let me put that out there, but it's just a shame that It's just a shame that gaming culture seems to still think that's sort of an okay thing to do. It still happens enough at enough things. Anyway, this has been Dave's little rant at culture and stuff. But Teal's really found that there's a 4-person that he can get now. Yes. So he's about to have a 4G.
Come on, do it. Do it. Yes!
You got a 3.
I got my 3. I'm satisfied. I did it. I got the 3.
You know what this is reminding me of?
Go on.
I've just been reminded of it, and I had a look on Steam to Wild Guns.
Wild Guns.
You don't remember Wild Guns? It was on the SNES and it got a reboot on pretty much every console afterwards.
I don't know if I know this. Oh, actually. Oh, wait. No.
Wild Guns. It's the one where you play as either a cowboy or a girl in a pink dress, and it's like just a shooter where you. Yeah, you've probably heard about it before.
Yeah, no, the name rings a bell now that I think about it.
It's one game in a big genre of games very similar to it, but it's sort of reminded me a little bit of it all.
Tell you what's really cool though.
What?
Indie games at the moment. Indie games excite me. The Hollow Knight is insane to me. Like Hollow Knight is just ridiculous. So it was like started as a Kickstarter project, and it didn't make. It didn't have a high. I might be getting wrong on this, but I think it needed something like £25,000, which isn't a huge amount. Like not even slightly a huge amount when it comes to developing a game. Games have millions upon millions upon millions thrown at it.
That's about a junior developer's like that's like a high junior developer yearly salary.
Yeah.
And that's in the industry I'm in, which is different to gaming. Like I'd be interested to see. Like think about that as like
I know how much some people make, but I'm not gonna say because I don't know if it's a secret or not.
I mean, let's have a little Google then.
But anyway, with Hollow Knight is crazy because like it got like it needed 25,000, I think. I might be wrong. And it made something like 35,000, I think, something like that. And as a result, they made a fully fledged game, which is one of the best. It's one of the best indie games ever made, and in my opinion, the best Metroidvania ever made.
Yep.
And then after that, nailed it. And then after that, they released they released an update for free. Then 3 pieces of DLC, which vastly upgrade the game, all for free. And then they said that they were gonna be releasing another piece of DLC with another playable character. And then when they released the trailer for that DLC, turns out it's a fully fledged new game. Also, there are only 4 people who work on the game.
Yep.
And it's just like, how have you had time to do all this? And they also, I'm pretty sure they also said for people who backed the game and its DLC, they get the new game for free because they backed for it. It's just like, we don't deserve you. You're amazing. Like,
yeah,
it's incredible. It's the same with the Hat in Time devs. They're just doing really cool pieces of game design and really great ideas and expanding the worlds, and it's just awesome.
I think it's because they have the ability to, and they're the ones controlling their own their own PR, which works well in some cases, but in the likes of Fez just falls on its ass because the guy's an ass. But there's a lot of stuff like this where you can just, if a company can control the message and like they've made enough money and they feel like they want to give something back, they have the ability to do so, and it really helps buy goodwill in the community, and that's really hard to buy, as I'm sure a lot of like big publishers are figuring out. Like it's super hard to buy that, and if at any point it looks very ungenuine, that turn is just. But yeah, going back to developers, it looks like really between 19 and 25 is sort of the starting salary. And so if you think about that, that's one developer for a year. That's the amount they ask for. Yeah. Like how long does it take that game to come out after the Kickstarter?
2.5 years, I think.
2.5 years.
I might be wrong.
So say a team of 2 people worked on that.
It was free.
That's like a quarter.
It was free. It was 1 animator, 2 developers, and a composer, I think.
Yeah, so look at that and realize that what a junior developer's salary goes towards making this game. Like, that's not a lot at all.
No.
So a lot of those have to, like, a lot of indie devs have to have that ability to fund themselves making the game in the first place to get there they want to. And it's super expensive, whereas, like, you can... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so tired. I'm running out of the things that are in my mind, but putting them to words.
Oh my god.
Oh jeez. That's... Oh, go back to blues.
This is kind of chill.
Go back to the blues.
I will in a sec. Not bad. Nope.
Now, tell me what you think this reminds me of.
Dog's
You've got
Life.
2 guesses. Yes! Damn right it does. In one go. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
It's because it sounds exactly like the song.
It does. It does. I was like, has this been ripped from Dog's Life? Oh gosh, we need to play that game.
No, we don't.
It's not as bad as everyone says.
I hated the mountain.
I
didn't mind any of the other levels, but the first level of the mountain where there's all the people on that ski stuff, fuck that level. I hated that level so much. It bored me to death. Also,
and he wanted the ice
you
physics.
you need to listen to it. I'll find it for you. The second area, so where it's the snow area, but it's like the little like cabin, and it's the ice that you can run on. The area sounds like the snooker theme for the BBC, and I can't get out of my. It's so annoying.